I hope I'm audible right now. Welcome back. Yesterday, of course, we could not go live. Sorry for that. It doesn't mean that I haven't been learning. It's just that I started learning something, then I had to finish that yesterday itself. I finished though, but disconnect it, reload the page. Okay, there's high chance of facing these types of issues, and that is why I have started using Wi-Fi. As usual, I think it should be fine. And alrighty, by the way, what's gonna be the goal of this live? Let me set the context over here and first, and then we'll discuss, like go further with the plan. So talking about the things exactly what all we are gonna be doing here. So let's continue. Meanwhile, I'm gonna be getting few examples over here. So Amazon VPC. What is Amazon VPC? So this is what something we are gonna be creating over here. So we are gonna be creating there's gonna be a region, of course. Then in the region there's gonna be a VPC. There are gonna be subnets in those VPC. We will create an internet gateway, and there are gonna be instances, like one or more instances running in those subnets. And there can be private subnets, then can be public subnets, and this is how they are gonna be being used. But let's see how it's gonna be going on. Meanwhile, we are definitely gonna be taking the help of AI as well. So it's not like we'll do everything on our own. Rather, with the help of AI, we'll be learning all these things. That doesn't mean that I know nothing about them. I do know, but again, only with the help of AI, all the concepts are gonna be clearer, right? So let's continue with this thing and see what's gonna be happening here. Let's ignore all these things, and yeah, let's continue from here. So what we are gonna be doing, we will create. First of all, let's do one thing. Can you give me a diagram, or can you just simply create a diagram that simply shows the overall flow of VPC, subnets, NAT gateways, and internet gateways, and EC2 machines, and especially there can be private subnets, public subnets, and similarly private, I mean EC2 instances and public EC2 instances and all. How is the flow? So ultimately, I need a proper diagram that actually contains the whole flow, so that when I start working on that, it's not hard for me to just simply go with that. Just give me something like that. Okay, let's see what it's gonna be providing me anyway. I hope I have explained it well, but not sure. But let's see what it's gonna be just simply gonna be giving me back. So sort of it is trying to create an image. I'm not even sure whether how long it's gonna be taking, but overall what we'll have, suppose this is the region that I'm gonna be having, what I'm gonna be doing right now. So this is the region, region, and once I have this particular region, in our case this is gonna be the Mumbai one, and once I have this region over here, so somewhere here in the region I will have my VPC machine. So this is the main region that I'm gonna be having, and this is gonna be the VPC machine that I'll have. Hopefully this is gonna be like this, and I think this much is enough, and let me make it like this. Okay, so this is gonna be the VPC machine. So not VPC machine, sorry, VPC, the full form of the VPC is that virtual private cloud. That simply means it's gonna be sort of a network, and inside that particular network we are gonna be creating, there are gonna be subnets. So there are gonna be even before that availability zones. So suppose we have 2 availability zones over here, or 3 availability zones for that sake. I can have one more anyway. So suppose we have 3 availability zones over here, especially in Mumbai there are 3 availability zones. Okay, so we have VPC. Inside VPC we have 3 availability zones. They are nothing but AVG availability zones. I mean, how AGs availability zones, yeah, just like this. So this is the first AG's availability zone, then this is the second one, and this is gonna be the third one. So we have 3 availability zones over here, and once we have these availability zones, after that we are gonna be having subnets inside them. So it will have a subnet, so it will have a subnet over here. Similarly, let me change the color as well. So this has the subnet, this also has a subnet, and this also has a subnet. and inside those subnets there can be one or multiple instances. So when it comes to instances, so there can be one or multiple instances inside those subnets. Now subnets can be private or public as well. So let's see what ChatGPT has given us. Well, ChatGPT has created something like this. Would you like to have a look over here? So it is just simply saying that there's gonna be internet gateway that will go through the VPC. Uh, Public subnets can directly access the internet gateway. That's fine. And there are gonna be private subnets, and private subnets are gonna be having private EC2 instances, no direct internet connection. That simply means they will not have any, what is that called, they won't have any public IP if I'm not wrong, and private EC2 instances and public subnets we have, and then we have public EC2 instance. That simply means they will be allowed. So for public instances, public subnet, ultimate instances, inbound and outbound traffic will be allowed, and for the private subnets only outbound traffic will be allowed, and this is how it's gonna be going on. But let's see. Okay, and another thing, we have two types of subnets over here: public subnet and private subnets. Those subnets will have the EC2 instances, one or many EC2 instances under them. So if that is a public instance, EC2 instance, that will definitely have the public ID. Will the private EC2 instance have the uh, public ID or not? I mean public IP I'm talking about. Will the private one have this or not? So this is how we are going to be just simply going through. All the concepts needs to be clear. I can just simply get it done really quick. But short answer, no, private EC2 instance does not have a public IP. So these are some of the diagrams that I got from the internet. So ultimately what is going to be happening over here, suppose public subnet has this 10.10.0.024, private is 10.10.1.024. so what is this anyway? We have a few EC2 instances over here. So this is the one of them. So this one is the green ones belongs to the public, and blue ones belongs to the private. Okay, so from the internet gateway, the request came here. The request went to ultimately when it, what is this anyway? This is the route table. The route table has this configuration in that. So for public subnet it has this configuration over here. For private subnet it has this configuration over here. And when the request first second the request comes here to the internet gateway, goes to the internet. But when it comes to this, so one, the request goes to the route table of the private subnet, and then the request comes, the NAT gateway sends the request to the internet gateway. So the request comes to the internet gateway, and then from the internet gateway the request goes. There is something called NAT gateway over here. That simply means, first of all, the request goes from the EC2 instance, private EC2 instance, to the route table. Route table forwards it to the NAT route, ultimately private route table. Then from the route table the request goes, request comes back to here, to the route table. Ultimately request goes to the NAT here, and once the request goes to the NAT gateway, because it is forwarded here, right? If it is not a local request in the sense, if it goes, if it doesn't, it is not within that particular range, it will be sent to the NAT gateway. And once it is sent to the NAT gateway forwards it to the internet gateway, and this is how it just simply works. And then it goes to the talks to the internet. Similarly we have a few more ones over here. But okay, overall this is how things are gonna be going on. Meanwhile we'll keep taking the help of AI to just simply understand this stuff and all. But here we are, quite a lot that has been given here. This is how we are gonna be going ahead. Probably the first one is gonna be public. So suppose this is the public subnet. Second one I'll keep private. Anyway, then all those three availability zones. Yes. Let's see. And meanwhile, it's definitely not gonna be working. It just simply keeps dropping the internet. Meanwhile, what can I do? It is definitely gonna be just simply giving me some kind of response here. Short answer, no, it's not mandatory. In practice, yes, recommended. Let's make it crystal clear. Core rule, very important. One subnet, one availability zones. A subnet cannot span multiple availability zones. So ultimately, if there is a region that has 3 availability zones, so there needs to be 3 subnets. Region 1, for example, API South 1, availability zone 1, then 2, then 3, just like this. Each subnet is tied to one specified availability zones. Your question, I have 3 edges, do I need 3 subnets? Technically, no, not required. You can create one subnet only in one edge and ignore edge 2 and edge 3. Your system will work, okay, as well as private subnet. First of all, okay, so is it gonna be connected? Hopefully it's gonna be alright, because if it doesn't go well, I'm not really gonna be worried about this. Rather, I'm gonna be focusing on something else. By the way, most real systems do this. AG1 2 subnets it will have. AG2 will have 2 subnets. AG3 will have 2 subnets. So load balancer distribution traffic across AGs, EC2 instances spread across AGs, database multi-AG setup. Okay. Simple. Subnet tied to one edge. 3 edges must create 3 subnets. For real world apps, use all edges plus create subnets in each. Golden rule: use multiple edges for reliability, not just availability. Okay. If you want to show AWS console steps and this okay, that's fine. So ultimately, that simply means just guide me with the steps. So for 3 availability zones, I'm gonna be creating 6 subnets. 3 of them are gonna be public and 3 of them are gonna be private. So ultimately 6 subnets are gonna be there. Now those subnets are going to be assigned to VPC, if I'm not wrong, right? Meanwhile, let's do it in action so that I exactly know the flow, because just by guessing the things, nothing's gonna happen. So let me just simply enter the password, go into my EC2 AWS account. Hopefully this is the right password here. So ultimately we have to create a VPC over here. These are the things that I did earlier. Let's forget about them, exactly whatever is mentioned over here. We are gonna be starting from scratch. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 of them we have here. We will be just simply getting rid of all the VPCs and all, but for now let's them be here. And I must have been charged a lot because it's been on for a while. I don't even know how much I've been charged, but never mind. So over here I'm gonna be going to EC2 first of all. Even few EC2 machines are running, so in that case instance, let me just simply stop all of them. HHLD public 1 2, or let them be running for now. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, like after 2 or 3 hours, I'm gonna be stopping all of them in one go. So what am I gonna be doing? I have to create a VPC here. Okay, but let's see. So when it comes to creating a VPC, what should be the name? Test app, let's name it, because of course I'm testing over here. So test app VPC 1, suppose this is the name, or test app VPC is gonna be more than enough. So this is the virtual private cloud that I'm creating, and once I have it here, IPv4 CIDR. So ultimately 10.0.0.0 / how many bits should be available. 24, that's simply how many bits should be blocked. So if 24 bits are blocked, I will only get 256 IP each. If 16 are blocked, I'm gonna be getting around 64,000 around. I am not sure, but yeah, we will be getting many. So let's go with this one anyway, because I want to keep it like this. If that is a private network, that should be starting the third digit should be different, and for the public one, the third digit should be different. I will be talking about it. And 16, overall things should be fine over here. So let's simply create a VPC. So right now I have just simply created this virtual private cloud, kind of the internet connect, your private, not private, but your internet environment on AWS. So this is the test app VPC that we have over here. And once this is here, we have to create subnets, right? We don't really have any subnet as such for this one. Yeah, so let's simply create a subnet. And we will have to select a VPC, that is the test app VPC that we have created. Once we have this, we'll be naming our subnet. So test app subnet 01. Suppose this is the one that we are creating over here. Preference, there are 3 availability zones in ACI specific Mumbai. So let's go with the first one. This availability zone it has. And IPv4 subnet CIDR block. So in that case, what should I be doing? Let's see, 10.0 point. How about keeping it like this, that it will have 1.0 and 24. That simply means what, 24 bits are going to be blocked, only 1 bit. That simply means 8 bits are is going to be available for the use. Hopefully it's gonna be great. And once we have, by the way, this is gonna be a public subnet if I'm not wrong, so it's better to just even name this. So public test app subnet 01 public. All the public ones will have the same. So ultimately all the subnets that start that belongs to the public category, they will be starting with the 1. Ultimately 1 needs to be there at the third section, whatever that is. Let's see, create the subnet. So once this subnet is created, I should be able, it is already attached. Yeah, it is already attached. So if I go to the VPC, but this way I have to create 6 subnets. So let me see what it's gonna be saying. Hopefully it's going right. Coming back to this one, yeah, you are absolutely right. All subnets belong to the VPC. You first create a VPC, then create subnet inside that VPC. Now let's go step by step, clean up in practical way. Okay, great. So 1 VPC, 3 availability zones, 6 subnets, 3 public, 3 private, internet gateway, and 1 or 3 NAT gateways we'll discuss. Yeah, I'm gonna be asking the AI to just simply guide me with everything. Step by step, create VPC, go to VPC, create VPC, choose my VPC. I named it test VPC. CICDR should be 16. We have done that. This is your main network. Create 6 subnets. Example, each public one, that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13. Why 11, 12, 13? Okay, so the public ones are gonna be 1, 2, 3, and private ones are gonna be 11, 12, 13. That is okay, makes sense. While creating, select your VPC, choose AG carefully. Okay, that's fine. While creating south, A we have selected, I think B we have to select, C we have to select for the public ones. Let's do it and see what's gonna be the result at the end of the day. Okay, by the way, it does make sense as well. Ultimately we are gonna be creating 3 public subnets, and we are gonna be creating 3 private subnets, and then we'll be just simply creating virtual machines and all. But before that, this is the public test 1 subnet I have created over here, and this belongs to AP South 1A. What will I be doing now? I'm gonna be creating 1 more subnet. So create subnet. It will have a test app VPC, and this is gonna be public test app 2 test app subnet 2. This is gonna be the subnet name. Availability zone, that's gonna be the second one, of course, and CIDR block is gonna be 10.0.2.0 and 24. That simply means 0/24. That simply means the third 3 blocks are gonna be 24 bits are gonna be blocked, only 8 bits are gonna be changeable. So ultimately we will have 256 what IP addresses. And once this is done, let's simply create this subnet as well. So ultimately this subnet is also created. If I'm gonna be creating 1 more, so that's gonna be again public. So test app VPC, and this is gonna be public test app subnet. This is gonna be the third one, and availability zone is gonna be the third. Same here, 10.0.3.0 /24 to 56. Let's simply create this subnet as well, and hopefully everything's right. Okay, so 3 subnets have been created. If I go to my VPC over here, this is the VPC that I have. Excuse me. So ultimately we have created 3 subnets. This is gonna be the public test app subnet 1, subnet 2, and subnet 3. They route to the same table. So this is the table that they have. 3 subnet association, 1 routing included. So if I go to the routes, so 1 route I must have got. By the way, I need to make sure that's the recent route. So this is the test app route over here, the last one. Let me make it name it test app route table. So this is the route table that I have. If I click on this, and only 1 destination and target we have over here, of course we'll have to add. Let's follow the steps exactly what the AI says. AI says that public 1, public 2, public 3, then private 1, private 2, and private 3. Ultimately you have to create 3 more private subnets. Let's create that, because I want to see how it works in production, because we could have gone with 1 subnet as well, and we could have assigned it to the EC2 machine instances, but let's do it practically exactly how it goes. So I'm gonna be doing that really quickly. So subnets, we have created 3 subnets over here. By the way, this should be just 1. That should be fine in this case. Not really like this, it should rather be 1. Okay, so we have gone through this much. Let's create the private subnets here. So the same machine, this is gonna be private test app subnet 1. Preference is gonna be this, and 10.0. It actually starts with it's completely your choice. You can start with 11, 12, 21, even any number for that sake. But we are starting the private the third digit is going to be 1, 2, 3, respectively for the public ones, and 11, 12, 13 for the private ones, just for the convenience, nothing else. 0/24 24. So we will have 256 IPs over here, and let me create this. So this is how it's gonna be done. The tag is already added, never mind, let me create it. So this one is done. Let me create one more. Hopefully I'm doing it the right way. So private 1, private type private. Do we even get the option to make it private? I don't know. We don't get that option, do we? Let me see. Let me select the VPC. Did we select? Just a minute. Let me go back. What was the availability zone over here? 1A, right? Yeah, that's fine. Let me create another subnet. Subnet actually. And this is gonna be private and test app 2 subnet 2. Availability zone is gonna be second one, and this is gonna be the same 10.0.0 not 0.11. This should actually be 12.0/24. 11, 12, 13. We have to create 3. So do we get the option to make it private? We do not. So how do we make sure that one is private? We just simply change the route table, right? Let's see. Route table is mainly changed for that. Ultimately route table forwards the request to the NAT if that is a private one, but we'll see. So the second one has also been created. Let me create the third one. So this private test app subnet 3. Availability zone is gonna be the third one, and 10.0.13.0/24. Let me create one more. So right now we do have 3 of them here. Great. And if I go to my VPC right now, it is just simply gonna tell, well, it should tell, refresh it. So this is the test app VPC we have, and it is saying that you have two subnets in AP South 1A, two subnets in AP South 1B, and two subnets in AP South 1C, and they they are connected to the same route table. So we will have to change this anyway. That simply means we need to create two route tables right now. Okay, let's see. So this thing is done. Create internet gateway. Go to internet gateways, create it attached to your VPC. This enables internet for public subnets. That's right. By the way, let me close this. So let's first of all create the internet gateway as well. So coming back to this one, these are the internet gateways that we have. This is gonna be test app IGW internet gateway, and forget about everything else. Once we have the internet gateway here, we can just simply click on action, attach to, and this is the VPC app, test VPC app that we want to attach to. Let's simply attach the internet gateway. It's going to be attached. What is the next thing that we have to do? Create route table for public subnets. Create a route table public RT, and add route, this particular route over here, associate public 1, public 2, and public 3. Now these three become public subnets. That's right. So let me go with that. So ultimately right now we have to create a route table. We already had a route table, this one, and this was already public, and three of them are attached here. That's the problem. So first of all, let's make it a public test app route RT1, route table 1, or just RT should be enough, and I hope that's the name. What was the name mentioned here? Yeah, that's fine. And if I go to this particular route table here, so what it is saying that if I subnet associations, these are the subnets that are added to this. So I can click on this, and hopefully I should be able to remove the private ones. Subnets associations. How many subnets are gonna be associated here? So in the public, only public ones should be associated. Save association. So if I go to subnet associations, so explicit subnet associations, we have subnet without what the hell? These were directly added to one route. That was the base one. So by default they are like this. Okay, let's see. Create internet gateway. That's already done. Create route table for this. Create NAT gateway, and then once NAT gateway is created, create private route table, launch EC2 instance. There's a problem here. Duplicate it. Alrighty, so I created three public subnets and three private subnets for my VPS, and now the problem is that those private and public subnets, they got assigned to a route table directly. So ultimately a default route table got created, and sort of they are connected to that. I'm not sure whether they are actually connected or not. And now I have to create a public route table and a private route table. So should I create a public and private route table separately, or I just make some changes in the default route table that I have got and make it public or private depending on the need? Let's see. You're very close to the correct. Let's clear this. Okay, fine. What happened when you create a VPC? AWS automatically created a default route table, and all subnets got associated with it by default. So yes, your subnets are currently connected to that default route table. But here's the important point: you should not use the default route table for your final setup. It becomes messy, hard to manage later. Not production best practice. You cannot clearly separate public versus private. So what should do? What should you do? You should create two separate tables: public route table used by public subnets, and private route table used by private subnets, just like this: internet gateway, NAT gateway. Step by step, so ultimately you have to create this and then configure this. So ultimately let's create two simple remove dependency on the default route table. So create route tables, done. Configure public route table, done. Configure private route table, done. Associate subnets, this is very important. Attach public subnets, public RT and private RT, so we have to associate subnets as well. Remove dependency on the default route table, so after association default route table will no longer matter for your subnets, you can just leave it unused, best practice. Oh, we haven't associated anything, yeah, that's right. So ultimately what is happening here, that in the default one, if I go to association, so none of them are associated, they are kind of no, they're sort of associated. So if I go to subnet association, so subnet without explicit association, that simply means they are not associated yet. Probably we'll see it. So what do we have to do? We have to create two route tables over here. By the way, this is gonna be the default one, so let's not have any name over here. Test app default art, default test app RT route table. I have to create a public test app RT. Select VPC. VPC is gonna be the test app VPC, and let's simply create the route table. So this route table is created. Similarly, I'm gonna be creating one more. So create a route table. That's gonna be private test app RT route table. The VPC is gonna be test app VPC, and let's simply create the route table. So we have them created over here. So ultimately we have two route tables over here. If I go to the public one right now, click on the subnet association, and we have to associate the subnets. So yeah, subnets without explicit associations, so we will have to associate public subnets here. So the public one are gonna be first, second and third. Let's simply save association. So they have associated with the public test app route table, and let's click on the private test route table, click on association, and three of them are remaining. So ultimately three of them are remaining, right? These three, so private, they are remaining. So let me just simply save association as well. So in this way what will happen, I have private subnets over here, I have public subnets in the public one, and sort of the job is done. Okay, we even have to configure this thing anyway. So if I go to the route table, and these are the route tables that we have. The public should have let's see what it was saying that. So we created this, create internet gateway, that is already done. Create route table for public subnet, that got created, and create a route table public RT, add this particular route, associate these particular things, we have done that. Now these become public subnets, great. So one last thing that is remaining, that is if I go to the routes, edit routes, add a route, that should be 000. That simply means except this range, all of them are gonna be redirected to where? They're gonna be redirected to the internet gateway, if that is a public route, and RTB, I hope this is the public route. Is there any way to check the name? Not really, we'll see it later. Let's save the changes, and this is the public route here. Okay, so this particular thing is done, and I haven't created NAT gateway yet. Create NAT gateway, important concept. NAT gateway must be in public subnet. It needs an elastic IP. So option 1, simple and cheap. Create a NAT gateway in public 1. Production based. Create a 3 NAT gateways, 1 per EG. NAT gateway. So there needs to be a NAT gateway. There can be 3 NAT gateways per Gs. I'm gonna be asking this to explain better. Explain it better. Do I have to create 3 NAT page for 3 Gs. First, what is NAT gateway? In simple words, a NAT gateway allows private subnets, that's right, access the internet outbound only, but internet cannot access private instances. That's right. So your private EC2 wants install package and all. So call APIs. NAT helps in that. Important rule: NAT gateway must be in public subnet. It must have an elastic IP. So I have to create NAT gateway in the public with the public subnet. So NAT gateway must be in public subnet. And okay, now your real question is, do I need 3 NAT gateways? Short answer, no, not compulsory, but recommended in production. Okay, fine. Let's compare both options. Single NAT gateway, cheap and simple. Create one NAT gateway, place it in public subnet AZ1. All private subnets AZ1, AZ2, AZ3 use it. Okay. So private subnet AZ2, route table, NAT gateway AZ1, internet. Pros, cheap and easy to set up. Cons, single point of failure. If AG1 goes down, all private subnets lose internet and cross. AG traffic slightly slower plus extra cost. One NAT gateway per AG is best practice. Create one NAT gateway public one. They did this, and they are gonna be created like this. High availability, blah blah blah. Cons, more expensive 3 NAT gateways. Forget about this. Best practice NAT gateway. So if you want, I am for okay, fine. So we have to create per. Let me work on NAT gateways as well. So if I go to NAT gateway here, and we have this NAT gateway that was already created, and this belonged to a particular region here, public subnet of course. So do I have the name? Okay, it belongs to AP South 1A, and these are the elastic IP addresses. Probably VPC is this. What is the subnet here? Cannot see the subnet. Never mind. Let's simply work on creating a new NAT gateway and see what options we get. So create a NAT gateway. What now? What should be the name of these NAT gateways? How should I name the NAT gateways when I'm creating 3 edges? I said edges. Okay, hopefully I'm not gonna be facing the network issue. And it turns out I am facing the network issue. Best practice naming them. So project NAT and AG1. Okay. So AG1, AG2, AG3. That's fine. My VPC, NAT, and this. So this is gonna be test app NAT and availability group 1, simple, AG1. Regional, that's fine. Select VPC, test app VPC is gonna be the one. And I'm not really select connectivity type for the NAT gateway. It will always be public. That is why it is just simply selecting that. Select the connectivity type for the NAT gateway. That's fine. And I got the option to add the VPC. And that is it. I do not have any other options over here. Create the NAT gateway. Test app NAT gateway. This is the first one. And this has this particular VPC. Availability mode regional. Okay. Status pending, fine. NAT gateway. So this is the first one. Let me create one more. Test app NAT. Yeah, we will have 3 of them. We will just simply add it to the private subnets route table. So test app NAT AZ2. Let's create this test app VPC over here, and that's it. Create the second one as well. And let's work on the third one. Test app NAT AG3, the VPC machine, and create the network. So NAT gateways are created right now. I have 3 of them over here. They are still pending, so we'll have to wait for a while if I'm not wrong. And yeah, that's right. So let's simply they're in the pending state anyway. Now what should I be doing? What should I be able to do next? That is, go to the subnets. Here you have private subnets and public subnets. They need to be added to the private ones if I'm not wrong. So they are created, and then what is the next thing? AP South 1A, okay, 1B, okay, so 1C, never mind. Even better, forget about this, we've already done that. Okay, forget about this. What is the next thing that we have to do? We have to kind of add the NAT in the, wait, I think these subnets were created on the public subnets by default. A NAT gateway must be in public subnet. It needs an elastic IP. Cheapen this and create private route table. So for private subnets, create route table private RT, and we already have this. Add this NAT gateway to that. So associate private 1, private 2, private 3. Now private EC2 can access internet via NAT. There is a problem. What is that? I have only 2 route tables over here. Public test app and private test app. So the question is, if I have 3 private subnets, do I have to create 3 private route table? If I have 3 private subnets, does that mean I have to create 3 private route table so that I can assign 3 NAT gateways over there? Do not say yes. Short answer no. Okay, you do not have to create 3 private route tables. Okay, but in most cases, you should create 3, 1 per AG. Why this confusion happens? A route table decides where traffic goes. If you have 3 private subnets, 3 NAT gateways, 1 per AG, then each subnet should use its own NAT gateway. That's right. Problem: if you use 1 route table, you create only 1 private route table. It can have this. That simply means all private subnets will use the same NAT gateway. Cross AG traffic happens. No. Fault tolerance breaks. No. Yes. Correct production. So AG1 private subnet, it belongs to, this is the private subnet we have. Well, congratulations, you will actually have to create it. Private RT1, private RT this, and private RT this. Literally. NAT gateway 1A, NAT gateway 1B, 1C. So flow correct private subnet AG1. Okay, route table AG1, NAT gateway AG1, internet. So it turns out I'll have to create 3 route tables for 3 subnets, private subnets, because they are using 3 NAT gateways, and those 3 NAT gateways are for 3 availability zones respectively. Interesting. That simply means this private one that I have over here, I cannot delete it. Route, okay, it is associated. Let me click on this association, save it. Route tables I have here. 3 of them got created. Test app 1, test app 2. These are the 3 subnet, 3 route tables that got created by AWS by default. So we don't have to do anything with them. Rather they are for edge associations. So let's not worry about them. Rather let's work on deleting this first of all. and then create three subnets for the private ones. So we have a public subnet here. Do we have that? Public test type RT here, and now private test type RT1, RT2 and RT3 we have to create. Crazy name, but private test app RT1, and it will have this test app. Create this. This is gonna be created association. I'm gonna be adding the first one over here. So this first private subnet, so private test app subnet, so this first private subnet is gonna be added to this, sort of, right? And let me create route tables. Again, there are many ways, there are simpler ways as well, but I'm going with this one because I wanna test everything. Private test app subnet to RT2. I'm not getting subnet, route table. So private test app RT2, the same VPC. This is also done. Test 2. This is the one. Let me click on this associations. Let me add the second one over here. Done. And lastly, I'm gonna be creating one more. Private test app RT3. VPC is gonna be the same. Let's simply create this. I'm gonna be adding the third one, this one over here. So third one is also gonna be added. So ultimately, what is happening right now? I have three NAT gateways for three availability zones. Hence, I created three private subnets so that I can add all those NAT gateways to those three subnets one by one. So what I'm gonna be doing right now, that I have these three private subnets, subnets I have, right? I have to go to the route table. So these are the three route tables that I have created. If I click on the first one, I'm gonna be clicking on edit routes, and over here I'm gonna be adding 000 first of all, and it should be, if it is a private route table, so ultimately whenever the request comes, the request will go to the route table. Route table will decide if that goes from the private ones. Route table will be redirecting to the NAT gateway. We have already created three NAT gateways. This is the first one, so I'm gonna be adding the NAT gateway 1 over here. Save changes. Route table, this is done. Then we have route table 2, that is for the second availability zone. So add a route table 000, and it will be redirecting to the NAT gateway. The second NAT gateway should be here, so let's wait. So the second one needs to be added over here, and yeah, save changes. And lastly, I have third subnet route table. Actually, this route table should have will be redirecting to the NAT gateway, so that's going to be the target, and this should be using NAT3. So we have done that. Quite crazy, but what have I done over here? That I had three availability zones. Suppose availability zone 1, availability zone 2, and availability zone 3. Now they are gonna be A1, AC, A1, AB, 1A, 1B, 1C, but okay, never mind. Then what I did, that here for this one I have public subnet and I have a private subnet as well. So it actually went on like this, private subnet, and it's completely up to you that you can have only one subnet that will be assigned to all. You can have only one private subnet that will be assigned to all. So if I have one subnet, okay, that simply means that can be assigned to all the availability zones, right? Sort of. And if I have one private subnet, that simply means that private subnet can be assigned to all the route tables. So ultimately, if I have one subnet, one route table will be created, and once the one route table gets created, then everything will be going through that, and then we'll have to create another private subnet, and that can be given all the just a minute, yaar. Here I have 3 of them. First of all, let's keep it like this. Even the concept is yet to be clear in my own mind. It is confusing for sure, but never mind, I'll go through it. So what I'm doing actually right now, I have 3 public subnets for 3 availability zones. I have 3 private subnets for 3 availability zones. Hence, what I did, I created 3 route I created one public test app route table. So this is the public one that I created over here. Let's keep it as green. So this one got created, and what it is doing that it is associated with all these 3 private public subnets, and then I created 3 private route tables. So private test app route table 1, similarly private test app route table 2, and similarly private test app route table 3. So these 3 route tables I created so that these private subnets can be associated with each. I'm doing it because I have created 3 NAT gateways for all the availability zones. So let me cut NAT 1 I have created, suppose I forgot the name anyway. The name was something test app, no, NAT test app 1, probably this was the name, I'm not sure, but okay, I have created 3 NAT gateways. So this is the first, well, that's crazy, yeah. This is the first one, suppose this is the second one, and this is the third one. So this is what I have done. So this is the second NAT gateway, and this is the third NAT gateway. By the way, only one NAT gateway you can create, and only one route you could have, route table you could have had it. So ultimately, what is happening? I have 3 availability zones. For those 3 availability zones, I have 3. This should be public anyway. Public, and they need to be private. Okay, that's fine. So I have 3 public subnets. The question is that, do I need to have those 3 public subnets? And the answer is probably no. Only one public subnet can work. But the thing is that if there's only one public subnet that is going to be assigned to 3 availability zones, that public subnet needs to belong to some availability zone for sure. Then if that goes down, then everything will be down. So what I'm doing, even I will go through it exactly where we get the subnets options. But here, right now what I'm doing, let's talk about that. So I have 3 public subnets. They are for 3 availability zones. And I have 3 private subnets. They are for 3 availability zones. Similarly, I have 3 NAT gateways. They are for 3 availability zones. And that is it. This is how I'm just simply going on. And then I created all those public subnets. They are associated with one route table. So we created only one route table for all those 3 public subnets. But for the private subnets, subnets, we created 3 route tables. First of all, these. And when we create a route table, I'll have to go through it well. So whenever we are creating a route table, so what is happening here? Do we have to just simply assign the VPC name and any name over here? I can create the route table. That much is not enough. That simply means if I go to routes, I have to go through each and everything, like what all options you get while creating that, what is the use of that option, and how the things work and all. So by the way, over here I have assigned this particular NAT. Okay, so ultimately I created 3 private test app, private routes, and they are doing what? At the end of the day, they are associated with NATs. So ultimately, probably I have simply NAT 1 and then NAT 2 or in the NAT 3. They are associated with these 3 route tables that I have created. Similarly, in the public one, what I have? In the public one, What is associated? Internet gateway is associated, IGW. So internet gateway is associated here. Once this got created, and in the private ones, 3 NAT gateways are associated, and those 3 NAT gateways belongs to belong to 3 availability zones respectively. So whenever you are creating a NAT gateway, over here, if I click on create NAT gateway, it asks me for the VPC. It automatically creates that NAT gateway, and then I'm definitely asked to nope, I'm not asked to so NAT gateway is definitely created on public subnets. So like shit yaar, public IP, public subnets. How does it work? I have this public test app route table. This has the destination internet gateway and redirects there if any requests. Apart from the defined range, yeah, that's fine. So it goes to the internet gateway, and we have created private test app, private route tables. So when we are creating route table, so few more things here. When I'm creating NAT gateway, what all it is asking me for? When I created NAT gateway, if I click on create, so it asks me for the name and it asks me for the VPC machine, and that is it. It doesn't ask me for anything else. Great. So when it comes to NAT gateway, so it asks me for the name and it asks me for the VPC machine, exactly which VPC cloud you are gonna be using. Okay, fine. And when we created the route tables, so when the route table was created, it asked me for the name and it asked me for the VPC again. So route table got created just the same way. So when it came to the route table, I wanna see how they are connected. Otherwise, it will just keep going on and on like this. So when I created the route table, it asked me for the name and it asked me for the VPC, just like this. Let me change the name. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. Okay, so the route table got created. And what is the next thing? So we have created a NAT gateway, 3 NAT gateways, and just VPC was asked. That simply means those 3 NAT gateways are attached to that particular virtual private cloud. Similarly, I created the route table that is attached to that. Now, do I get the option to attach to a particular AG availability zone? This thing is done. Route table is done. Let's go with the subnets. In the subnets, what I'm doing? I have the route tables first of all. In the route tables, what I have done? The route tables that I created, I have assigned I have associated NAT gateways, and I have associated, if that is a private one, then NAT gateway is associated, and if that is a public one, public test app, then IGW is associated. That simply means, come on, close this. I created a route table, I created NAT gateways, and similarly I created internet gateway. This also got created. The question is, what all am I asked while creating that? So internet gateway, click on this, just the name, that is it, nothing else, like the name of the internet gateway. And come on, close this. So just name is asked while creating the internet gateway, and then you can assign or attach it to the VPC. So the cloud that you have, the internet environment that you have, you can just simply attach it to that. So cancel it. If I click on any one of them, suppose this one, I am getting an option for detach. That simply means we can attach it to the VPC. So this much we have done. Great. But we didn't write, I mean we didn't get it connected to the particular AGs like availability zones. So when that happens, route table is done, internet gateway is done, even NAT gateways are done, so no need to for all these things. Let's talk about subnets. We created subnets, and when it comes to subnets, so we created 6 subnets over here: public, 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 private, 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 and they belong to, yeah, this is where we specify the availability group. So ultimately, whenever we are creating a subnet, so we selected this, we have to specify the availability zone over here and then provided the name, and this is how it's gonna be done. So ultimately, when we are creating the subnets, at that time we are asked for the name, we are asked for the availability zone, so AGs, so we are asked for this. So ultimately, this subnet that I have created, that definitely belongs to this particular AG, this belongs to this belongs to this, but when it comes to NAT that we have created, they do not belong as such yet. Let me keep it outside, like I haven't specified that this will be using that particular AG, this is for that particular AG. Now what have I done? Once internet gateway got created, I just simply assigned associated with the route table, respective route table, as simple as that. And when NAT gateway got created, I assigned it to the respective route table, as simple as that. So they are assigned to the respective route tables, public, private, depends. I have the subnet, I have the route table. Now does the route table belong to a subnet? Just a minute. In route table, what all we can do, let's think about, let's see that. So in the route table, if I have any route table over here, first of all, we can add the routes, we can add the associations. That simply means respective route tables are associated with respective subnets, as simple as that, just like this. So this is the connection overall. So I created the internet gateway that got added in the route table, so that they just simply get added. So the internet gateway got added in the route table, respective route table for sure. NAT gateway did the same, so they are added here. Then I created subnets, and subnets they have like what is happening in the subnets, I am associating over here, associate. So respective route tables are associated with respective subnets, simple. Those subnets belongs to the AG's availability zones, and this is how the overall diagram gets ready. So this is how it just simply goes, simple. So ultimately, when it comes to these 3 things that I have over here, 3 NAT gateways, so they are actually added in the subnets, as simple as that. So instead of doing it like this, let me make it here in the middle. Let me bring it here as well. Let me bring it here as well. Let me bring it here as well. Gonna be creating one more box here. That's gonna be like this. So this is how overall things look like. One group for all. This and this. Pretty good. Okay, so far so good. Let me just simply change the color as well. Sort of it should be like this, or probably like this. That doesn't really matter. Can I go? It can go backwards, but not that much. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Huh? It doesn't go backwards. That's insane. let's do one thing, not delete that actually, let's simply change the busy color, I mean make it transparent. So this is how things actually look like. And once we have done this much, then what do we have to do? Now suppose what I wanted to do, I wanted to create only one public subnet. So ultimately when I'm creating a subnet, they are assigned to this okay, what we did while creating the subnet, we got the name, we got the availability zone, and how about the first thing, the VPC that we created. So when I created the subnet over here, subnets, when I created them, so when I create the subnet, I'm asked for the VPC for sure, and then I'm asked for the availability zone, and I'm asked for the name. So one thing I missed over here, that whenever I'm creating the subnets, I'm asked for the VPC as well. So VPC, I'm asked for the VPC, I'm asked for the name, and I'm asked for these things, associate. Arey bhai, what am I doing? I think this is how it should be enough. Huh? Literally? That's fine. Alright, this is how it just simply looks better. And these are the things that I'm asked for. What is the next thing that I have to do? Okay, these many things we have done. Even subnets, nets are associated. That simply means overall setup is ready. Suppose if I had only one, I created a VPC, though this VPC got created, and then I created one public subnet. When that public subnet got created, it asked for the VPC name. So I associated with this particular VPC. It asks for the name, or it asks for the availability group. Suppose I selected one availability group over here, suppose for example, or I just selected none, depends on me actually. There's none option as well. AWS will handle it on your own, on its own. So we have done that, and then we need to create a private subnet. We did the same thing, VPC name and availability zone. That's also fine. Then we created the route. A route table will automatically be created. Everything will not be associated, but we'll definitely have to associate and explicit associate. Otherwise, everything is sort of associated directly as well. And then net gateways, they will be route table. We'll definitely have to create two route tables. So even if we have two subnets, public and private, that is it. They belongs to only one AG. I will still have to create two route tables, so that two route tables can forward the request to the either internet gateway or the net gateway. So this is the thing that I'll have to do, and definitely I will have to create the internet gateway. I'll have to create the net gateway. If I have only one AG, one more thing, even if I have three AGs, because when I'm creating the net gateway, it just simply asks for the VPC name. It doesn't ask for the availability group. How does the availability group then is configured? So when it is created, I'm adding it to the route table. I have created three separate route tables. They are actually added to the subnets, and those subnets belongs to the particular AGs. That may belong, that may not belong. So if I create only one net gateway, and that net gateway is actually kind of added to a route table, the private route table, and that private route table is associated with all the subnets that we have. So ultimately, when you create a route table, that can have many can be associated with many subnets. So suppose even if you have this public subnet here, private subnets here, three subnets private, three subnets public. So even if you have one net gateway, that one net gateway could have been added to the route table, and that route table could have been associated with all the subnets that we have, and that subnet belongs to a particular AGs. So what is happening over here, that only one net gateway is gonna be there, and what we are doing right now, we have three private subnets, we have three net gateways, they are associated with the three route tables we have. So net gateways are associated with three route tables, added with three route tables. those 3 route tables, private ones of course, are associated with 3 private subnets. We could have created only one. But when we are creating one, what is the problem with that? One NAT gateway is there that is associated with one private route table that is added, of course, and that is in turn associated with all the 3. So ultimately the route table is associated with all the 3 private subnets. That should be fine here. Why did I even have to create that? Let me ask this here. When we create a NAT gateway, so I'm not asked for any availability group name, or I mean availability zone name over there. Just VPC name and the name of the NAT gateway is enough. And ultimately that NAT gateway is added in the route table, right? So suppose I have only one NAT gateway and I added it to the one private route table, and that private route table in that 3 private subnets are associated. So in this way it should be working fine, because I think that particular NAT gateway is not associated a particular a particular availability zone. Rather that is just the NAT gateway that I created and that is added in the route table. That route table is associated with the 3 private subnets. So it should be fine, or do I still have to create 3 NAT gateways for this? Let's see what it's gonna be saying. You are thinking in the right direction. Okay, that's it. One misunderstanding. Key correction. NAT gateway is not associated with availability zone. That's right. This is not correct. A NAT gateway is always created inside a specific subnet, and that subnet belongs to a specific availability zone. So indirectly NAT gateway tied to one availability zone. Why you didn't see availability zone while creating NAT? When you create a NAT gateway, AWS asks for subnet and elastic IP. That subnet already belongs to. So when you create a NAT gateway, AWS asks for subnet. No, it does not ask for the subnet. Okay, that subnet already belongs to this. So AWS doesn't ask for the AG is automatically decided your subnet. You said NAT gateway private. This. Will it work? Yes, it will work fine. But okay, fine. Just a minute. Let me create a new network. NAT gateway. Create a NAT gateway. These are the options that I get. These are the options that I am getting while creating a NAT gateway. It's I don't think anyway directly or indirectly asking for availability zone. Great catch. You hit a new AWS UI concept that wasn't earlier. Let's clear this. What you are saying important. In your screenshot, there is a new option, availability mode. Regional new, zonal old, super simple, high availability automatic. No need to create 3 NAT. When I created, then it is asking me not to create. Cons less control. Slightly different pricing model. It can be high depending on the users. Zonal NAT gateway traditional. If you select zonal, and then AWS will ask for subnet. Elastic IP. This is an old method you were learning. In this mode, NAT is tied to one subnet to one AG, and let me select that as well. So this is where you are asked for the subnet. Now what am I supposed to be doing? Scales automatically across all regional AGs, simplifying management for multi-AG deployments, provides granular control with a specific availability zone. Like guys, we get the subnet option over here, otherwise we don't get that. Congratulations, I am gone. Okay, let's do one thing. I'll have to delete. Okay, so you should create 3 NAT gateways when you are going with the traditional way. If you are not going with the traditional way, you should create only one NAT gateway, and that should be enough. So I have created 3 NAT gateways over here. Now first of all I'll have to remove them from the route table, and then I'll have to create only one because I'm not going with zonal one. So in that case it's gonna be problematic. That simply means I need only one route table in that case. Wow. So these three route tables that I had, I can just simply, I cannot delete them associated with this, so I will have to delete the associations. So let me click on this. Gonna be quite, how long has it been anyway? 1 hour. I thought it's been a lot of time. It's just been 1 hour. Okay, so let's close this first of all, cancel it, I mean remove it, save changes. Why am I doing it? There are two ways. If you are going with the traditional one, then the way that I followed, that is right. But if you are going with the modern one, multi-ages setup and all, then of course you do not need to worry about it, bro. So done. This first route table is done. Let's go with the second one. Save changes. Look, I've been simply following the chat GPT. Okay, so I know exactly these types of things exist as well. Route tables and this, let me remove this from here. Don't worry, it's fine. And that's what I was wondering actually. When I created the NAT, I didn't get any subnet option. That simply means that is sort of managing the things on its own. So why am I having to create 3 route tables? By the way, good thinking. Save associations. I'm gonna be deleting these 3 routes. I should be able to delete them anyway now. So yeah, delete. Now I'm gonna be creating one private route table only. So 3 subnets are here. Let me create one private. So private REST app route table, just one is gonna be enough for me. VPC is gonna be this test app VPC. Let's simply create this, and I'm gonna be associating all these 3 over here, so they are gonna be associated. So right now 3 private subnets are associated. Now if I go to the NAT gateway, I created 3 of them. Let me delete now because we don't really need them. Delete NAT gateway. I'll even have to, because we are charged for what? We are charged for the elastic IPs, so we'll have to make sure that that gets removed. Arey bhai, no creation, just deletion. This particular thing is done. Let me create a new NAT gateway. That's gonna be NAT test or test app NAT just like this gateway. Already regional. If you specify zonal here, then of course you can select the subnets, but okay, we are going to be going with this new VPC. This is the VPC that we are going to be selecting. Overall things are fine. Create the new one. Pretty simple. Once this got created, go to subnets. At least I had 3 subnets. That's fine. Let's go to the route table and private test app RT, and here I am gonna be adding a route 000, and that is gonna be NAT gateway. Gonna be selecting which one, the new one that I created. This is the test app NAT gateway because other ones are just simply training right now. Let's simply click on save. The job is done. Congratulations, we have worked on this, and now we have 3 public subnets. We have 4 public. Yeah, we have 3 public subnets. We have 3 private subnets. And what is the next thing? The next thing is that actually creating the EC2 machine. Launch EC2 instance, public EC2, launch it in public subnet, R2 assign public, private EC2, launch in private, no public IP. So we have to keep this particular thing in mind. So ultimately, final flow, we are gonna be creating 3 EC2 instances, that are gonna be public, they are gonna be using those three launch in public subnets. So like if I have three subnets, so I have the option of launching them in three availability zones. I can select three subnets. Those subnets belongs to those availability zones. So when I created the three subnets, let me go to my nodes. Thanks to my nodes. When I created the subnets, it asked for the VPC name, virtual private and the name and AGs. So ultimately, when I'm creating the EC2 instances, ultimately they are gonna be running on availability zone. That's it. Just a minute. So when I'm actually creating the EC2 machine, I'm selecting a subnet. That subnet belongs to a particular availability zones. That availability zone, I mean, that simply means if one EC2 app is running, EC2 instance is running, that just simply runs on one availability zone. If I want to run another EC2 instance on another availability zone, I will have to just configure the things. So ultimately, if I want to use all the availability zones, I will have to create three EC2 instances for them. Just one small correction needed. What you said partially correct. When you create EC2 instance, you select subnet. That subnet belongs to one availability zone. So yes, one EC2 instance runs in one availability zone. Only one important clarification. If I want to use all edges, I must create three EC2 instances. Not always required, but that's exactly how high availability is achieved. Let's break it properly. Case 1, single EC2 instance, one EC2, one works fine. But if one goes down, your app is down. Multi-AG is recommended. So create one this. Now if one AG fails, others fail. So your app is still alive. Real world architecture, user load balancer. That load balancer will be forwarding the request to this or this, but ultimately I will have to create three EC2 instances on those three availability zones. Congratulations. AWS does not automatically spread on EC2 across AGs. So each EC2 single machine in single AG. Okay, so how do companies use multiple AGs? They use multiple EC2 instances. Load balancer, okay, this will be just simply balancing the load among them. R2 scaling group AG, yes, that's okay, got it. Best practice, instead of manually creating three EC2, use R2 scaling group. Use a minimum 2 instances spread across AGs. AWS will automatically launch EC2 instances in different AGs, replace the failed instances. We will work on that, never mind. But here we are just working manually. Ignore the noise around me. So here we are working manually. So manually, this is how it just simply happens. So that simply means what we can do, as we have created three subnets over here. So ultimately, we have three availability zones, and we have three public subnets. That simply means we have to create three three EC2 instances that use this public subnet, and we have to create three EC2 instances that use this private subnet, and then we have to see how this NAT works and all. And for that thing, I'm gonna be back after 10 minutes or something. We have to go through quite a lot, and as for right now, I'm just simply gonna be calling it here. I'm gonna be back after 10, probably 20 minutes. I'm gonna be just simply having some food and all. But hopefully by then we are gonna be going through this. So ultimately the whole thing, whatever we are going through, that's gonna be done for sure. And we will have to anyhow create 6 EC2 instances, and I'm gonna be saying it will directly be able to talk. I will be able to send the request to the public substance like EC2 instance, and I will be able to get the result. Private you cannot talk to directly. Rather, private one should be able to use NAT, and then once it uses NAT, the request should be forwarded. So ultimately, outbound request is going to be possible here. Inbound and outbound are gonna be possible for the public one. So let's see how it's gonna be going on. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting. By the way, we've learned quite a lot. I'm gonna be catching up after 20 minutes. Until then, take care and bye bye.